U.S. EPA has begun a 5-year review of the recent cleanup at the USS Lead Superfund site in East Chicago, Indiana, and wants to hear from you. At the end of this presentation, I will provide information on how you can provide feedback to EPA. What is the purpose of a 5-year review? 5-year reviews determine whether the remedy at a site continues to protect human health and the environment in accordance with the EPA Superfund law and guidance. A 5-year review is conducted on remedies that have already been implemented at a site. At the USS Lead site, the first 5-year review will be conducted on cleanups that were done in accordance with the 2012 Record of Decision. Specifically, the first 5-year review focuses on cleanups completed in Zones 2 and 3, along with the former Cary Gosh Elementary School and adjacent utility corridor in Zone 1. Because cleanup is pending at the former West Calumet Housing Complex property in Zone 1, it is not part of the current review. The first 5-year review also does not include Operable Unit 2, which is the former USS Lead facility and the groundwater beneath the entire site. Operable Unit 2 is currently undergoing investigation and no cleanup decision has been made yet for Operable Unit 2. The review of the remedy examines 3 questions. Number 1, is the remedy functioning as intended? Number 2, are the exposure assumptions, toxicity data, cleanup levels, and remedial action objectives still valid? And number 3, has any other information come to light that could call into question the protectiveness of the remedy? These questions provide a framework for organizing and evaluating data and ensuring that all relevant issues are considered when determining the protectiveness of the remedy. A 5-year review is required when a remedial action leaves hazardous waste on site at levels that do not allow for unlimited use and unrestricted exposure. Unlimited use and unrestricted exposure means that there are no restrictions placed on the potential use of land or other natural resources. At the USS Lead site, the 2012 Record of Decision included excavation of contaminated soil to a maximum depth of 24 inches. If contamination was present at 24 inches below ground surface, a visual barrier was placed in some cases on top of the remaining contaminations, and institutional controls or restrictions will be placed on the property to protect future users from exposure. In some cases, during remediation, EPA conducted additional sampling at the base of the excavation and removed additional contamination. This was done to limit the number of properties that would require restrictions. However, because some properties with contamination at depth remain, EPA is conducting a 5-year review since these properties do not allow for unlimited use and unrestricted exposure.
The 5-year review process combines information taken from decision documents and operational data with the experiences of those responsible for and affected by actions at the site. There are 6 components to the 5-year review process. They are community involvement and notification, document review, data review, site inspection, interviews, and protectiveness determination. EPA's community involvement activities during the review include notifying the community that the 5-year review will be conducted, notifying the community that the 5-year review has been completed, and providing the results of the review on the site's webpage and to the local site repository. At the start of the USS Lead 5-year review, EPA placed an ad in the Northwest Indiana Times, in both English and Spanish, to notify the community of the upcoming 5-year review and how the community could participate. EPA also distributed a newsletter to residents of the Superfund site in May 2021, notifying the community they could participate in interviews to provide feedback for the 5-year review. Additional information on how to participate in the interviews is provided at the end of this presentation. You may also provide feedback or ask questions without participating in community interviews. Please call me, Remedial Project Manager Sarah Rolfus, at 312-886-6551, or email me at rolfes.sarah@epa.gov. You may also contact Community Involvement Coordinator Janet Pope at 312-353-0628 or email her at pope.janet@epa.gov. EPA reviews various documents to obtain necessary information regarding remedy decisions. Examples include records of decision and explanation of significant differences. EPA also reviews enforcement documents. Examples include consent decrees, administrative orders on consent. And additional documents reviewed may include site investigations, remedial design, and remedial completion reports. The 5-year review for the USS Lead site references the 2012 Record of Decision to evaluate whether the remedy chosen is still protective of human health and the environment. The 5-year review also consists of reviewing reports and work plans that document the implementation of the 2012 remedy. For instance, EPA is reviewing the completion reports for each construction season to review the properties cleaned and if contamination remains at depth. The data review includes EPA's review of sampling, monitoring plans, results from monitoring activities, operation and maintenance reports, or other documentation of remedy performance, including previous 5-year review reports. The data in these reports form the primary basis for the technical analysis and the subsequent protectiveness determination. The type and quality of data will have a significant impact on findings and conclusions. Depending on the remedy, EPA may also identify the need to conduct supplemental sampling or collect other data and analysis in some cases. EPA is currently reviewing sampling data collected as part of the remedy implementation. At this time, EPA is not collecting supplemental data to assist in this 5-year review. EPA conducts site inspections to gather information about a site's current status and to visually confirm and document the conditions of the remedy, the site, and the surrounding area. The inspection should be conducted no more than 9 months before the completion date of the review. EPA and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management will be conducting a site visit soon to review remedy implementation. Interviews may be conducted when necessary to provide additional information about a site's status and to identify remedy issues. Individuals interviewed can include the site manager, site personnel, federal, state, and local regulatory authorities, and people who live or work near the site. EPA is conducting community interviews as part of the 5-year review, and information on how to participate is included on a later slide. The purpose of a 5-year review is to determine whether the remedy at a site is, or upon completion will be, protective of human health and the environment. The conclusions of the 5-year review should include identification of issues that may affect protectiveness of the remedy, recommendations and follow-up actions to address these issues, and a determination of whether the remedy is or is expected to be protective of human health and the environment. EPA arrives at these conclusions through a technical assessment of the information collected during the document review, data collection, interviews, site inspection, and other activities. EPA identifies all issues that currently prevent or may prevent the response action from being protective. Once the 5-year review report is signed and placed in the local site repository, EPA will notify community members that the review is complete and the report is available. The USS Lead 5-year review report will document all information reviewed in order to make the determination regarding whether the remedy is still protective of human health and the environment. The 5-year review report will identify any issues and recommendations to address them. For example, a 5-year review report may identify inadequate institutional controls as an issue. The 5-year review report may then recommend implementing institutional controls and a timeline to complete the action. EPA will generally not reopen remedy selection decisions contained in the Record of Decision unless a new or modified requirement calls into question the protectiveness of the remedy. The 5-year review report is scheduled to be completed by the end of October 2021. An electronic copy of the final report will be posted on EPA's USS Lead Superfund website, and hard copies will be available at the public libraries in East Chicago, Indiana.
The 5-year review is an opportunity for you to tell EPA about any concerns you have with the cleanup that was completed in Zones 2 and 3. To schedule an interview, please contact Cheryl Vaccarello at the phone number or email on the slide. Cheryl is a contractor working for EPA. Information for the phone and virtual interviews will be provided when you call for an appointment. If you need a Spanish interpreter for the interviews, please contact Alberto Leon at 312-886-6163, and EPA will have an interpreter available. You may also submit comments on the 5-year review in writing. If you have any further questions regarding the USS Lead 5-year review, please contact either Sarah Rolfes or Janet Pope at the phone number or email provided on the slide. Thank you.